we'll continue our discussion on polynomial time reduction. We saw that how to reduce in polynomial time the clique problem to the independent set problem, and we saw that reduction extensively. There are a couple of insights that we would like to highlight. Let's look at those. We said clique polynomially reduces to independent set. So if you closely observe this, what is that we do as part of the function? So we say an instance of clique. If you look at clique problem, it is g comma k, and this one is g prime comma k prime. So an instance of this, say g1 comma k1, is mapped to an instance of this. g2 comma k2 is mapped to an instance of this. It may so happen that more than one instance of clique may map to same instance of independent set. It is just a function. We don't demand that it has to be a bijective map and so on. So in some sense, it is many to one reduction. Many instances of clique may map to a single instance of independent set. And there are instances of independent set for which there is no pre-image. Meaning they do not have the corresponding clique instance. But for corresponding clique instance, but for each clique instance, there exists a corresponding instance on the independent set. Okay. So now that this map is established, and we also showed that it is clique if and only if independent set, which means it is a solution preserving map. Now what is the consequence of this? What do we achieve by this? We highlighted a couple of them. If you solve independent set in polynomial time, and we can solve clique in polynomial time. Solution to independent set can be used to solve clique. So essentially, if you bring sorting Feynman, that relation, what is that we do? Suppose we know independent set is solvable efficiently, say in polynomial time, we can use that as a black box to solve clique. Suppose you want to solve g1 comma k1 instance. Our reduction says g goes to g complement, which means this becomes g1 complement comma k prime is same as k, so which means k1 prime is same as k1. So we pass the complement of g1 here, and this returns an independent set, or in this case it says yes. Does there exist an independent set of size k1 is what you ask, and it returns say yes. If it returns say yes, you also say yes for the clique problem, which means in g1 there exists a clique of size k1. And if this says no, then what do? We also return no for the clique problem. This is the general framework. What is that you get out of polynomial time reduction is the following. You solve independent set. Solution to independent set can be used as a black box to solve clique problem. Correct? That's the immediate consequence. Now, most importantly, if independent set is solvable efficiently, or if independent set belongs to class P, then click belongs to class P. Meaning, if independent set is solvable efficiently, then the click problem has an efficient solution. So you use this black box or framework and convert an instance of click problem to an instance of independent set problem. How do we do this? Here is the reduction that tells you how to do this. So if independent set belongs to P, then click belongs to P. So take an instance of click, use this polytime reduction, which is why we demand polytime reduction, and which means the reduction takes, say for example, order n square plus independent set takes a order n cube, then you can solve click in order n cube time. This is reduction cost, and this one is time to obtain independent set, and if you combine these two, you can obtain solution to click problem in this much time. Fine. Now we are not actually solving click through this approach. We only establish a framework. Here is a framework that tells you that if independent set is solvable efficiently, then click as an efficient solution. And as on this date, independent set do not have an efficient solution. What is available today, or the current best, is a deterministic exponential time algorithm. And say 15 years later or 100 years later, if a researcher comes up with a solution for independent set which runs in deterministic polynomial time, then this framework tells you click also as a deterministic polynomial time. So this theory is trying to relate these problems and bring a framework. It tells you that this problem is at least as odd as say click problem, and click problem is at least as odd as say 3-SAT, satisfiability problem, and things like that. And so we bring this framework and compare the relative oddness of the problem and establish a framework like this. And if at all the independent set problem or say the vertex cover problem becomes polynomial time, then we get a solution to the click problem as well. So that is the essence of this theory. In the deterministic polynomial world, we actually solve the problem and produce a solution. But in this, we compare the relative oddness and establish a framework. Okay, and let's explore more about this theory. Consider this reduction which reduces independent set problem to the vertex cover problem. We call that the input to vertex cover is g comma k, and we ask, does there exist a vertex cover of size k? And what is a vertex cover? For all edges in E of g, the edge set, we say u belongs to the vertex cover or v belongs to vertex cover. So in some sense, it is the set of vertices that cover all edges. For each edge, at least one endpoint is present in the vertex cover. So now here is a reduction. Take an instance of independent set and it is reduced to g remains g, k prime becomes, or g prime is actually g, k prime is n minus k. So we said g prime must be a function of g, k prime must be a function of k, and f of k is n minus k over here. So each instance of independent set Suppose you take a graph like this. Suppose we ask for say g comma 3. Does there exist an independent set of size 3 in this? Now can we find an independent set of size 3? Suppose you take 5, 3, 1. You see that 5, 3, 1, yes, it is an independent set. Now on this side it is g comma n minus k. N minus k is 6 minus 3, which is also 3. Now look at the other vertices 4, 2 and 6. If you look at 4 to 6 and each edge incident on 4 is covered by this and 2 covers these two edges, 6 covers this edge, which means all edges are covered, and for each of them at least one endpoint is present. Therefore this is a vertex cover of size 3. So now you see that independent set of size 3 is mapped to a vertex cover of size 3. For the same graph, let's look at say g comma 4. Does there exist an independent set of size 4 in this? Let me try exploring. Let's take 5 and take say 3 and then take 1. Now having taken these 3, we cannot include this or this or this. Okay, and instead of say 5, 3 and you try some other possibility. So with this is the maximum thing. One cannot extend this further. So no more elements into this. Suppose let's try this set. Let me take 4 and then 2. Then we cannot include these 3. We can only include 6. Again, no more elements. So now you see that this one does not have an independent set of size 4. So the answer to this question is no. Let's experiment whether for vertex cover it is g comma 2. Correct? Graph remains the same. K prime is 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now can we find a vertex cover of size 2? Suppose I start with 4. Then these edges are covered. Okay. Then let's try including 1. If you include 1, then what happens to the edge 3, 2 and edge 2, 3 is uncovered. So which means this is not a vertex cover of size 2. You take some other set, say 4 and 1. That's what we tried. Let's look at 4 and 2. If we take 4 and 2, 1, 6 is uncovered. Which means answer to this question is also no. So g comma 4 is no and g comma 2 over here is also no. G comma 4 of independent set is mapped to g comma 2 of vertex cover. Now solution to this is no and our answer to this question is no. So answer to this question is no. So we clearly see that at least for this example, yes of independent set is mapped to yes of vertex cover, no is mapped to no. So we see that this is how the map exists. Which means at least through this example, we are convinced that it is a solution preserving map. Yes of this is mapped to yes of this and no of this is mapped to no of this. So therefore, you see that independent set if and only if vertex cover. G comma K if and only if G comma n minus K. Okay. So what is the consequence of this reduction? Independent set polynomially reduces to vertex cover if VC belongs to class P, then independent set belongs to class P. Meaning one can use VC as a black box to solve the independent set problem. So to solve G comma K of independent set problem, what we do, we pass G comma n minus K. If this returns yes, we also return yes. And if this returns no, then we also return no for independent set. Now again, this is a framework. As on this date, we do not have a deterministic polynomial time algorithm for vertex cover. If VC is solvable efficiently, meaning there exists a deterministic polynomial time algorithm and to be discovered maybe 100 years later, then you can use this black box, solve independent set efficiently. And this tells you that the oddness of this and independent set are related only by a polynomial. And by spending another order n square effort, you can get solution to independent set problem. And so that is precisely the focus of this framework.